As of now, we have completed up to the various force components, that is the merchant circle G formation, and we have also completed the tool wear and tool life, surface finish and integrity as well. Now today we will start with machinability, and we will also try to discuss some cutting tool materials as well as cutting fluids also. Okay, now let us start the session. So before starting machinability, let us discuss some of the most popular and famous common machining operations that are being performed in our daily to daily basis. So first one is the turning. As you can see over here, turning means single point cutting tool removes material from a rotating workpiece to form a cylindrical shape. Next is your drilling. It is used to create a round hole, usually by means of a rotating tool that is a drill bit with two cutting edges. So you are well acquainted with this turning and drilling operation. Now next is your milling. Milling we also have discussed. It is rotating multiple cutting edge tool is moved across work to cut a plane or straight surface. Okay. Next is your shaping and planing. It is used to create flat surfaces. So it is also used to this planing. Milling is also to cut a plane or straight surface, and in shaping and planing also used to create plane surface. Okay, but milling has many more operations also. Now next is broaching. Broaching you all know, that is multi-teeth tool used to make roughing and finishing in a single stroke. That is very versatile machine, broaching machine. Okay, so in one stroke you are getting rough and smooth cut as well. Now sawing, it is used for cut off operation. So now if you carefully look to the diagrams over here, this is the turning operation. The work is rotating and it is being held in the chuck and supported by the tailstock, and now the tool is moving in this direction and giving a cylindrical shape and reducing the diameter. Next is the drilling machine. As you can see, work is stationary over here, and this is the drill bit, and drill feeds and rotates to produce a circular hole. Okay, next milling you can find over here. This is the cutter rotating. Work is also feed is given to the work, and cutter is rotating, and we are getting a plane surface. Okay, next is your shaping machine. This is similar to the single point cutting tool as of in the turning operation in lathe, but in this in milling we are getting a multi-edge. So that was the shaping machine, where we are using this single point tool to have a plane surface. Now this is the reciprocating tool, and this work is stationary, so work feeds laterally. And again, now we have the planing machine, where tool feeds laterally, but the work reciprocates and the tool is stationary over here. So that is the planing machine. So that is the basic difference between the planing and shaping. In shaping, the tool reciprocates while the work is stationary, but in the planing, the tool is stationary and the work reciprocates. Next, you can see it is a broaching operation, where the broaches, like the teeth, are being fed into the workpiece, and the work is remaining stationary. This cutting tool moves into the work, this one, and we are having the rough and finish cut in a single stroke. Next is your saw blade. This you can see over here, saw blade. Generally the carpenters are using this type of saw blades to remove material from the workpiece, wooden workpiece. This is known as sawing. Okay, this is saw blade. Okay, Next is your, let us discuss about the machinability. That is the concept of machinability. Look, machinability is the characteristics of the work material expressing its ease of machining. However convenient it looks, it is a characteristic which is difficult to quantify. Unfortunately, like other characteristics of the material, it is not a simple property. For example, hard work materials are difficult to machine. However, hardness alone would not be able to specify the machinability, since it also depends on the other characteristics such as tool materials used, process parameters, etc. So, basically coming to the definitive portion of the machinability, the term machinability refers to the ease with which a metal can be machined to an acceptable surface finish. That is the definition of machinability. So that is the ease with which a metal can be machined. How easily you can machine a metal, basically. That is the definition of a machinability. Now the term machinability includes all those properties which are relevant for the machining and cutting process. That is the wear of tools, necessary cutting force, resulting form of the chips, quality of the surface produced as well. Okay, so that is the thing. Now, combined effect of alloying, heat treatment, stress and temperature. To permit high removal rates, steel work materials are often heat treated to reduce the hardness to a minimum. The heat treatment for medium or high carbon steel often consists of annealing just below the transformation temperature, about 700 degrees Celsius. This ferrorizes the cementite, the form which it has least strengthening effect. For some operations, a coarse pyramid structure is also prepared. This structure is obtained by full annealing treatment, in which the steel is slowly cooled from the transformation temperatures. So, this is the effect of alloying: heat treatment, stress and temperature. Okay. Now, machinability of non-ferrous materials. Okay. Okay, let us start with this one also. Later we will move on to the next slide, which will be having machinability of ferrous metals. Okay, look, aluminium is a non-ferrous metal, is a well-known non-ferrous metal, and it is very easy to machine due to its high machinability. Okay, whereas beryllium requires machining in a controlled environment. Okay, cobalt based alloys require sharp abrasion resistance tool materials and low fits and speeds also. Copper can be difficult to machine because of built up edge formation. Magnesium is very easy to machine with good surface finish and prolonged tool life. Whereas titanium and its alloys have very poor thermal conductivity. And tungsten is, much harder material. So tungsten is brittle, strong and very abrasive type of materials. Okay, so generally tungsten has got its low machinability, and due to its low machinability, conventional machining process is found to be very difficult during the machining of tungsten materials. So generally non-conventional type of machining processes are being employed for the machining of tungsten material. Generally EDM, where EDM, there is electrodielectric medium, is used for the machining of tungsten. Okay. Now coming to the difference between the rough cut and finish cut. In rough cut we have higher feed rate whereas in finish cut we have lower feed rate. In rough cut we have higher depth of cut, whereas in finish cut we have low depth of cut. In rough cut we have high chip load on cutter, and in finish cut we have lower chip load on cutter. In rough cut we have higher stock removal rate, in finish cut we have lower material removal rate. In rough cut we have poor surface finish, in finish cut we have good surface finish. In rough cut we have poor dimensional accuracy, whereas in finish cut we have high dimensional accuracy. In rough cut we have poor tolerance, and in finish cut we have close tolerance. So these are the basic difference between a rough cut machining process and a finish cut machining process. Okay. Now cutting parameters used on machining tests. Now cutting parameters we have to discuss. It is a typical example to give you a real life picture of different types of cutting parameters used on machining tests. So first is your parameter, next is your unit, and this is a milling condition. So we will be having roughing and finishing values as well. So first of all, depth of cut, which is given in millimeter unit. For roughing it is around 1.5 millimeter, whereas for finishing it is 1 millimeter. Now feet per tooth is in millimeter per tooth, and it is given in 0.15 for roughing, and for finishing it is given as 0.08 millimeter per tooth. Now for cutting speed we are having meter per minute, and it is for rough we are using 100 meter per minute, and for finishing we are having a large value of cutting speed around 400 meter per minute. Okay. Now coming to the material removal rate, that is centimeter cube per minute. We are having for rough we are having 1.58 value, and for finishing we are having 2.24 centimeter cube per minute value. Okay, so that is the things we have to this is a typical example of different cutting parameters to give you a basic idea of how it looks like, how it goes, what generally is the range, certain range. Okay, now surface integrity data sets provided by Field et al. Taken from a paper actually. Previously I have discussed with you the surface integrity. Now this is also related to machinability as well. Okay, so if you find over here, it is just a comparative study given in a paper on 1972 paper. It is for minimum SI data set, a standard SI data set, and extended SI data set. So in minimum SI data set we are having surface finish, then microstructure, that is up to 10 times magnification or less, having macro cracks, then macro etch indications. In microstructure we are finding the micro cracks, then the plastic deformation, then we are having the phase transformation, intergranular attack, pits, tears, laps, protrusions, built up edge, melted and redeposited layers as well, selective etching, micro hardness as well. Now for standard SI data set we are having minimum SI data set, fatigue states, that is screening, stress corrosion tests, then we are having residual stress and distortion as well. Now in extended SI dataset we are having standard SI dataset, then we are having fatigue tests extended to obtain design data, then additional machine mechanical tests also, tensile stress also, stress rupture also, creep are there. Other specific states are bearing performance, sliding, friction evolution, sealing properties of surfaces as well. Now previously we have discussed the machinability of non-ferrous metals. Now let us discuss about the machinability of ferrous metals. Look, ferrous metals mean we are having this steel carbon metals, or iron basically is a primary base metal of ferrous metals. There is a wide range of machinability depending on their ductility and hardness, as you can see over here. If a carbon steel is too ductile, chip formation can produce built-up edge leading to poor surface finish. On the other hand, if the steel is too hard, it can cause abrasive wear of the tool because of the presence of the carbides in the tool. Cold worked carbon steels are desirable to form a machinability standpoint. An important group of steels is free machining steels containing sulfur and phosphorus. Sulfur forms manganese sulfide inclusions, second phase particles, which act as a stress resistors in the primary shear zone. As a result, the chip produced break up easily and are very small, thus moving machinability. The size and shape distribution, concentration of these inclusions significantly influence the machinability. Elements such as tellurium, selenium, both of which are chemically similar to sulfur, act as inclusion modifiers in resulfurized steels. Now, phosphorus in steel has two major effects. It strengthens the ferrite, this is very important, ferrite, this phosphorus, causing increased hardness and resulting in better chip formation and surface finish. So, phosphorus is going to be very important material. So, it increases the hardness and resulting in better chip formation and surface finish. So, it is helping in machinability. Okay. Now, it also increases hardness and thus cause the formation of short chips instead of continuous stringy ones, therefore improving the machinability. So, phosphorus, you have to keep in mind, is a very important alloying material in case of ferrous materials for having the improved machinability performance. Okay. Now, non-ferrous I have already discussed. Okay. So, one more thing I would like to share with you as the while machining, as you earlier know that machining is the characteristics of the work material expressing its ease of machining. However convenient it looks, it's a characteristics which is difficult to quantify and it is not simply a property. Okay. Now, if you consider the surface finish in connection with the machinability, I must tell you one more thing about this machinability, that machining operations are utilized in view of the better surface finish. So, machinability is also directly related to this surface finish. Okay. So, this rough cut and finish cut are also some part of the surface finish as well. Now, I must tell you that in order to have a better surface finish, machinability is one of the most vital this factors or parameters affecting the final surface finish. Okay. So, you must keep in mind with the ease of machinability, the surface finish is also going to be a very better one. And apart from the surface finish, there are also many parameters such as the power requirement also will be reduced, and the efficiency will also increase. Okay. And the tool life, it also, the ease of machinability, you can easily guess that with the ease of machinability, the tool life can also be enhanced. Okay. So, sometimes what happens, free graphite, actually the presence of free graphite in a particular alloy or metal, you can say, this free graphite improves machinability and also improves tool life. Okay. But what happens if the presence of pearlite, actually pearlite also improves machinability, giving good surface finish with no built up edge formation. But here is a problem, it also decreases the tool life. So, in order to keep a balance, you have to justify the heat treatment of a particular metal before machining. So, you have to keep balance in between the surface finish and also in between the tool life. Okay. So, there should be a balance in between the surface finish and tool life also. Okay. As because with the ease of machinability, the tool life also increases. Okay. Now, steels containing free ferrite are soft and their machining is with no tool wear. However, they are likely to form built up edge and consequently poor surface finish. But the presence of pearlite improves machinability, giving good surface finish with no built up edge formation, but decreases tool life. So, you have to keep in mind. And presence of cementite, because of its hardness, reduces the tool life as well. So, you have to keep in mind only free graphite which are present in cast iron, it only improves machinability and tool life at the same time. Okay. So, machining operations are basically utilized in view of the better surface finish that could be achieved by it compared to other manufacturing operations. Thus, it is very important to know what would be the effective surface finish that can be achieved in a machining operation. And the surface finish in a given machining operation is based on the two factors mainly: the ideal surface finish as a result of the geometry of the manufacturing process, which can be determined by considering the geometry of the machining operation, and next will be the natural component as a result of number of the uncontrollable factors in machining, which is difficult to predict. So these two factors are very important in connection with the machinability, which eventually relates the surface finish of the materials as well. Okay, so today we have had a prolonged discussion on the machinability. This is a very important thing as well in connection with the metal cutting. So machinability we have discussed. We have also discussed the machinability of ferrous materials, non-ferrous materials as well, and we have also discussed the presence of cementite, perlite and free graphite, how it improves and affects machinability as well as tool life. So hope you have enjoyed today's class, and we'll also have some more discussion in our later classes on machining. So thank you for watching.